We're building a solid future for Florence County seniors. Learn all about it coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio in Florence. We're visiting with Charles McCown, the co-chair for the Senior Center Committee, the Senior Citizens Association in Florence County. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Glad to be here.
Incredible opportunity to highlight the new construction of the Senior Center, which began yesterday. They are right next to Carolina's hospital system. Incredible location at Freedom Boulevard, right behind the Ruby Tuesday. A location virtually indicative of much of what's going to happen over the next 11 months. Very exciting.
We're excited, too.
You've got to be. How long has this taken?
Years.
Years is the word. You don't even want to put years on it because the number on it has been so many.
That's true.
Wow. Charles, real quick about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
I'm from Effingham, which is 10 miles south of Florence, about 301.
It is in Florence County.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. You have family here in the area?
Yes, I have a son that's radiologist here in Florence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you attend school in the area?
I did. I was the last class to graduate from Florence High School. It became McCown the next year.
Is that right?
That's right.
Son of a gun. What kind of business were you in before you retired, Charles?
I was a mechanical contractor, plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and utilities.
Boy, you were busy then.
I was.
You must have been. Have you always been involved in the community and in politics?
I have.
What are some of the positions you've been active in over the years?
My goodness, I started with Eisenhower and Goldwater and worked my way up to now. I'm treasurer of the Florence County Republican Party.
Okay.
And I'm an honorary member of the Young Republicans.
Is that right? Good for you.
I was one years and years ago.
Well, as long as you keep on that honorary status, that continues. And you have been active in the silver-haired legislature.
I have.
What exactly is the silver-haired legislature for viewers who may not be familiar?
Silver-haired legislature was established to assist the South Carolina legislature in having a feel for what the seniors in South Carolina need. Mm-hmm. Each year we caucus in about 10 different caucuses, and each caucus comes up with 5 items to recommend to the legislature. Mm-hmm. And then we combine those and boil them down in session in the State House to 5 or 6 items to push for the next term.
Well, that's a real honorable position to have. Could anyone be a member, or is it...
you have to run for office and be elected by seniors.
You're elected by seniors, and that's for anyone over 60. Over 60, which are the exact requirements for being in the Senior Citizens Association here in Florence County.
Right.
That's wonderful. What are some of the issues the silver-haired legislature pursues? You talked about a couple of those there, but at what level of government are they involved? Is this entirely statewide or
state?
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, any pursuits on the federal level?
Not really.
Really, it's almost entirely state. I would imagine there'd be a great vehicle to also get up on the hill and hit Washington, but staying in Columbia is probably a big enough effort. What prompted you to become involved with the Senior Citizens Association?
Well, when I retired, I was on the county election commission, mm-hmm. and their office was right down the hall from the election commission. And I got interested from hearing what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. How long have you served on its board?
I believe this is my 5th year.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it was so exciting yesterday to hear Ruth Sandifer kick off the week and hear her talk about so many things the Senior Citizens Association has been doing in the community, right. And that it's been doing it for so long. A gigantic commitment to think about kicking off the construction of the Senior Center yesterday. What a big day.
Boy, it really is.
Yeah, what a really big day. When did the senior center, I know we talked about, you said years ago, there's got to be some idea as to when the balls began rolling for the senior center project.
Well, Dorothy Blackwell started a fund for building a senior center, and it got up to $80,000, but that wasn't enough to move with. And then about 4 years ago, the Department of Health earmarked $175,000 to us for a senior center. That still wasn't enough. And about 2 years ago, Senator Leatherman included $1.5 million in the Senate bond bill that was issued to fund constructing a center. And that's enough to do something with.
Absolutely. $1.5 million plus that 175 you
Right,
said.
right.
And how about the land? How did y'all come about that land? That's a big deal.
We wanted to find a site that was accessible to the people from the lower end of the county, people coming from Olana or people coming from Johnsonville or Pamplico. And the site that we selected is on that side of Florence. It takes about as long to get there from Olana as it does to get from there to the other side of Florence, if you've gone through Florence traffic lately.
It's a big county. There's a lot of north-south traffic.
So it's on the 301 bypass, and that will be tied into 76 from the Marion direction.
And your involvement with the silver-haired legislature probably helped quite a bit in communicating well with Senator Leatherman. Or were there other senators or House members involved in helping push that through? Or
Senator Leatherman
really spearheaded that.
He handled that.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I think I saw that he helped appropriate some funds for the road paving.
He certainly did. We needed a street paved to get to it, and he directed those funds through the district commissioner to accomplish that.
Well, just like you said, you're an honorary member of the Young Republican. Everyone, whether it's senators or House members or otherwise, will at some point be a senior, and will hopefully be active with the Senior Citizens Association. So that's probably good that Senator Leatherman's helping out now,
right,
preparing for his future. That's exciting.
And yours.
And mine, absolutely. I'm only 30 years from that. That's exactly right. Rolling ahead. Where does the project stand at this point?
The contract's let, and we're proceeding. It's an 11-month construction contract. So that means next May we will be having an open house.
Spectacular. Are there still funds needed in order to complete the project?
I think everything's in place.
That's fantastic, Charles. On a project of this magnitude, and you think about building something that's going to bring so many folks together and bring opportunities. Here in Linda talked yesterday that Horry County, for instance, has 12 senior centers, and this will be the first in Florence County. That's amazing.
We are playing catch-up, I guess, in that respect, but we have a good program underway, and we'll do a good job here, and then we want to have centers in other parts of the county.
How many other folks are involved with you on the Senior Center Committee?
There are 8 people on the Senior Center Committee.
Okay. And your experience as a mechanical contractor and your involvement with the silver-haired legislature obviously probably helped quite a bit in your work on the Senior Center Committee.
I know how to read a blueprint. And we have requested $300,000 from the Bruce Lee Foundation to equip the inside. The grant that Senator Leatherman got us was for bricks and stone. But we need curtains and chairs and dishes and what have you. And the Bruce Lee Foundation is considering that request now.
Spectacular. You expect to hear in the near future.
We've been encouraged thus far.
And you said the center is slated for completion in May.
May.
You expect to have a dedication in May, or would you want to open a couple months later, or? It all depends. That's right.
It does.
Weather, big issues. I know Linda talked yesterday about weather constraints in the winter months, and virtually any project you're affected that way. What benefits do you think this center will offer to Florence County seniors?
Oh, that'll give us a place to get together and exchange tales and stories and views. And if you go around Florence at around 8 o'clock in the morning, about every little donut shop or hamburger place, you'll see a group of men. Now, I don't know where the ladies accumulate, but I'm sure they do too.
Yeah.
So we want to have a place for the men and the ladies. We have an exercise room. We have a computer room with around 20 computers in there. They can come out and get online with us. We have a craft area. And then we have a library, old men's corner, which we will drink coffee in and donuts.
So you'll have a library that you can drink in.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And when we think about, obviously, the senior center affecting Florence County seniors, there's also a big impact it will have on the community as a whole. How do you think it will benefit the community as a whole?
Well, the seniors, when they're happy, the community is happy. When they have problems, like right now, a Silver group is pushing getting bulk purchase of drugs for seniors to reduce the cost of their medicine. And that will be considered today in the Senate. Those are the issues that seniors are most concerned about right now.
You heard Charles McCown say it. You heard him say it. When seniors are happy, the community's happy. He made it clear. Construction began yesterday on the senior center. Go out and visit. They're right next to Carolina's hospital system, off Freedom Boulevard behind Ruby Tuesday. An amazing opening. Hopefully 11 months from now, we're very excited. Charles, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. More Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio in Florence. We're focused on the Senior Center, which kicked off yesterday here for the Senior Citizens Association in Florence County, and we're visiting with Bill Remmes, the administrator with Carolina Healthcare in Florence, and the co-chair of the Senior Center Committee. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Incredible kickoff after yesterday's kickoff of the construction of the Senior Center, and to think so much going into that, so many years trying to raise the funds to make that a reality, and to see that begin yesterday is very exciting.
Well, there's been a lot of work by people over the years to make it happen, so this was their excitement and culmination, and we're just here to carry on for them.
Absolutely, Bill. Real quick about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
No, I'm not. I'm originally from Iowa, and spent all my life there until I was about 21, and went to school in western Iowa in grade school and high school, and then moved to Iowa City.
What brought you to the area? Do you have family here?
Yes, my wife's family are all live just south of here, and have for generations. In fact, they have the land grant from King George still hanging on one of the walls of one of his cousin's houses.
Wow.
So it's coming back with my wife to an area that is very familiar to us because we've been traveling down here to see relatives for a lot of years.
So you said you moved to Iowa City. Was that to attend the University of Iowa?
Yes, I went to the University of Iowa there and graduated with a bachelor's in business administration.
Mm-hmm. What was your first job following graduation?
Well, actually, to the chagrin of my mother, I decided to go into the Peace Corps just before I graduated, and she was worried that I wouldn't graduate, but I did come back and graduate. And but I spent 2 years in West Africa, in Ghana, as a Peace Corps volunteer doing audits of cocoa marketing co-ops in West Africa. So I got a lot of experience in accounting.
Absolutely. What a big commitment. Now, how does one go about in their early 20s making that kind of commitment in life? I mean, that's a really big deal, Bill.
Actually, I read about the Peace Corps when I was in high school. I went to the University of Iowa High School for 2 years. And I read about the Peace Corps, and I just decided at that point, when I finished college, I was going in. And a recruiter came to the University of Iowa campus, and that's all it took.
Mm-hmm.
I applied and was accepted to 2 different countries, but went to Ghana.
Have you ever been back to West Africa or back to Ghana after returning to the States?
Yes, I spent 2 years back here in the States working, and then went back to West Africa for another 2.5 years with a company called TechnoServe. We did enterprise development in Ghana for the people there. So I helped start small-scale sugar factories and a variety of other enterprises. Mm-hmm. My oldest son was born in Africa.
Is that right?
So he had a Ghanaian birth certificate that we had to turn in to get his U.S. birth certificate.
Later. How exciting. Exciting for him and exciting for you all, I'm sure. How did you get into the healthcare industry, Bill?
Well, I was in Connecticut working with TechnoServe, and there was an ad at the bottom of the page in a New York Times Sunday edition, and it was kind of an intriguing ad, and so I responded to it. And about 2 months later, got a call and had an interview over the phone, and then came down to the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill and interviewed there. And then they sent me out to interview with a position in Jackson, North Carolina, and that was back in 1978.
And you took a position there in Jackson, North Carolina.
That's right. It was a sort of high-risk, high-gain venture because it was just one position at the time. And I knew that if it didn't work out, it wasn't going to be a long-term thing. And but my wife's father had been the academic vice president at Davidson College, in Davidson, North Carolina. And so she wanted to come back to North Carolina.
Right. But you have somehow convinced her to move down to, you all were in North Carolina almost 20-plus years.
Right.
And then moved down to, somehow convinced her to move on down to, she had ties, though, here in Florence County, even though her dad was in Davidson.
She actually convinced me. Her grandmother's house was down here, and her parents had retired into that house. And so there was another family home that we decided to buy. And so she sort of convinced me, but I think we convinced each other because we really liked the area.
Right. You wanted to stay in the Carolinas instead of being a Tar Heel. You're now in the Palmetto State.
That's it.
That's a big, of course, for our viewers, a lot of our viewers are in Robinson, Scotland County and Columbus County. So part of the reason it's Carolina people is because both Carolinas are represented here. So thank you. You helped bring the two together. How long have you been with Carolina Healthcare?
For about 3.5 years now.
What are your primary responsibilities as administrator?
I'm the administrator for about 17 positions, and we have, well, in fact, we're about to expand to 20. We also have 7 department heads, and so I work with them really on just whatever may come up in the day-to-day operations of the group, and look at what we need to do for the future and working with numbers and basically anything that comes in the operation of what is a fairly significant business as well as part of health care.
Yes, absolutely. Bill, what was your first contact with the Senior Citizens Association here in Florence County?
I actually called Linda Johnson about the medication program for indigent medications for people that we had seen in our office, and I was aware of the program. And so that was really the first contact that I had here in Florence. I had been working with senior citizen organizations for probably the last 10, 12 years up in North Carolina, and had been responsible for the development of a nursing home, a senior center, apartments for the elderly in 2 different communities. So it was a natural to be interested in it.
And that experience in those developments over the last 10 or 12 years must have helped dramatically as one of the 8 board members. I think Charles talked about there are eight folks on the board there and helping to work on the Senior Center committee.
Well, the concept wasn't new to me, so I had a pretty good idea of what a senior center entailed. I also have done quite a bit of construction in my previous work, and in terms of being involved in the construction of the nursing home, being involved in the construction of the senior center, and some medical offices.
So they pulled you in pretty quick after you got active with the Senior Citizens Association. They pulled you on the Senior Center committee almost immediately.
I think Jetty Lewis was probably the first one to ask me to become involved, and then from there I've just continued to be involved because it's such a great group of people doing an important service.
And you thought you could bring a lot to the board, and that helped. You recognized, or they recognized, you could do a lot as a potential board member.
Well, I think I've got some experiences I can bring, but at the same time, it's a very satisfying group to be a part of.
Yes, very definitely. From your previous experience with the Senior Center, how do you think the center will impact the county's senior community?
Well, of course, there's the opportunity to have a very visible focal point. And these days we have so many people whose family members are here, but the son or daughter may be states away. They may be in California, they may be in Minnesota or wherever, and they have to figure out how to handle care for their parent or uncle or aunt or whatever. So it gives a focal point for them to look towards. It also provides a lot of services for local seniors, everything from the kinds of home-delivered meal services, the volunteer programs that are available, as well as just the enjoyment of the center itself, things that have been discussed before in terms of a place to sit and play cards or work on the computer or do a little exercise, things like that. And then I think there's a whole range of things that we don't even recognize will happen as a result of that. We, for example, in Northampton County, had a very close relationship with the University of North Carolina Program on Aging, and that was very effective and important to us. That people who wanted to provide services to seniors often would approach us because they knew that if they came there, they would have contact with a lot of seniors.
Absolutely. This may help jumpstart a program either with USC or with Francis Marion or Florence Darlington Tech.
Exactly.
Amazing what that could do. You're exactly right. So what are some of the facilities planned for the new center for viewers who may have missed yesterday with Ruth and Linda talking about it, or maybe even just missed Charles?
Well, of course, there will be a facility for meals to be served. There will also be an opportunity for people to rent those spaces or to use those spaces for different senior activities. There will be the computer lab, more or less, with, we hope, 12 or more computers. There will be a exercise room. There will be a room to just sit and read and chat and so on. There will also be an outdoor screen porch and patio. Charles, of course, is going to raises tomatoes out there and a few other things. So we expect great things out of that.
Absolutely. You talked a minute ago about the impact the senior center could have and more than definitely will have on the community, on the senior community. But what do you think the benefits of the community as a whole will benefit, how they will benefit from the completion of the senior center?
Well, I think sometimes we forget that volunteer programs or programs that are funded programs like Senior Citizen Association and so on have a fairly significant employment effect. They have employees. They employ a lot of part-time people, which gives those people a little bit of extra money to spend in the community. And that has a little bit of economic effect as well on the community. And as Charles said yesterday, when seniors are happy, then the rest of the community can be happy. As you know, they say, when mama's not happy, nobody's happy. Well, this is kind of maybe the benefit to the community.
Absolutely. Bill Remmes is backing up exactly what Charles said earlier. When seniors are happy, the community's happy. In addition, the economic benefits could be great with added employment opportunities with the senior center. Bill, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
You,
absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Charles McCown and Bill Remmes for making today's Carolina People such a great success.